igneous rocks, especially how they look like, because this is a subject of field, and we will try to see how these rocks look like in the field, and what type of different textures or what type of different materials we have, and what type of different structures are available. So we have igneous rocks, and as you guys know, we have three main types of rocks. We have sedimentary, we have igneous, and we have metamorphic rocks. So as you know, these rocks, the igneous rocks, they are the primary rocks, and they are directly formed by the solidification of magma or the solidification of lava at the surface of Earth. And you can see some of these floors, the ropey style, and another ropey style with some active channels. You can see the reddish color, that is the active channel of lava that is still not solid and is in fluid form. And you can see clearly the ropey style of lava, and this is on the surface of Earth. However, igneous rocks also form under the subsurface conditions, and once all this strata is eroded or maybe this area is uplifted, then these rocks, the rocks that are found inside the earth, are exposed at the surface, and how we can see the intrusive rocks. So as you guys know, we divide igneous rocks into two types. One is the extrusive igneous rocks, those rocks that are found on the surface of earth, and one is the intrusive, that were actually formed and solidified under the surface, but now we can see them because of erosion and weathering and uplift, and as a result we have the formation of these rocks. Okay. The magma is normally hot, and when it is in the subsurface, it has gases dissolved in it, and it has immense pressure and temperature inside the earth, and it tries to come up. If, for example, there is a rift valley, the earth crust is expanding, then this magma, it travels to near the surface, and sometimes it forms volcanic arcs, and sometimes it forms the Rift Valley volcanism, like in East Africa. So these are some of the examples, and it is actually an aggregate rock that is from variety of minerals, and they are very dominant type of rocks. If we think about the lithosphere, अगर आप सिर्फ lithosphere की बात करें 150 kilometers, then the most important rock type there is the igneous rock. Okay. If we consider the elements, normally the oxygen, silica, iron, alumina, soda, magnesium, calcium, and potassium. These are some of the common elements, and these rocks are actually formed by the combination, different combination. And as you know, if it is in the subsurface, we call it magma, and if it reaches to the surface, then we call it as lava. And that is the difference between magma and lava. Okay. The chemical composition, if we want to divide the igneous rocks based on the chemical composition, we have the acid magma and the basic magma. Acid magma, remember, very easy to remember, that it will be rich in silica, soda, and potash, and will be poor in calcium, magnesium, and iron. And just reverse this order. Basic magma is rich in this, and will be poor in silica, soda, and potash. Similarly, the basic magma is further divided into three types. We have the ultra basic rock, and ultra basic rocks contains less than 45% of silica. Example is peridotite. Peridotite. Oh, this is a beautiful peridotite, and sometimes this peridot is a gemstone variety of this rock, and you can see very beautiful coloration in this. And normally, these types of rock are found in lower crustal levels or upper mantle, where we have the more rich ultra basic magmas. Similarly, basic rock that contains silica between 45 to 55%. The examples are gabbro and basalt. Gabbro and basalt. कोई बताएगा what is the difference between gabbro and basalt? Very small difference between these two neighbors. Anybody can tell the difference between gabbro and basalt? किसी को याद है basalt और gabbro में क्या फर्क है?
सर जो गैब्रो होती है वो कोर्स ग्रेन्ड होती है और जो बेसाल्ट होती है वो फाइन ग्रेन्ड होती है.
Yes, that is the exact difference. इसके अलावा there is another difference that because basalt is very fine grained, it is normally found at the surface of earth. जबकि जो gabbro है, it is coarse grained. You can see the crystals, and it is crystallized beneath the surface of earth directly from the magma. Okay. Then comes the intermediate rocks. Intermediate rock, as you guys remember, on our visit to the museum, we saw some salt and pepper type of texture, and we call it as a diorite. And then comes the acid rock. Acid rock is the one in which we have silica more than 65%. Just remember these percentages, these are very important. 45% below will be ultra basic, 45 to 55 will be basic, and then 55 to 65 will be intermediate rock. And then if the content increases more than 65, then we call it as granite. Granite example is not given here, but these are some of the examples, like peridotite will be ultramafic, and then basic we have gabbro and basalt, and gabbro so formed underneath the surface of earth, solidified, and then basalt, the same composition. Remember, the composition will almost remain the same in gabbro and basalt, but the grain size will be finer in basalt. In gabbro, the grain size will be coarser. Similarly, diorite. किसी को याद है diorite का क्या equivalent है? Volcanic equivalent of diorite.
Andesite.
Andesite, yes. The equivalent of diorite is andesite. Okay, these are some of the basics. Maybe you guys remember it from your first semester, from the glossary definitions. And now you see, आपने glossary में से जो terminology की थी उसमें से बहुत सी terms ऐसी हैं जो आपको अब help कर रही हैं आपके इस course में. That's why learning the glossary is one of the most vital step in your learning and grooming as a geologist. Okay. Igneous rocks can also be classified as saturated, and we can say that oversaturated rocks. Remember, it is basically the amount of silica. If silica is abundant and high amount of silica is available there, that we call those rocks as oversaturated. Then there is a term called saturated, and normally it contains sufficient amount of silica and do not contain any quartz. Similarly, we have the undersaturated rocks, contains less silica and high alkali and aluminum oxides. These are some of the rocks that are sometimes very important economically, and you need to remember the different terminology that is associated. Then types of igneous rocks can be divided into extrusive rocks and intrusive rocks. Extrusive rocks are those that are formed at the surface of Earth, and intrusive rocks that are formed beneath the surface of Earth. However, some scientists they also divide the intrusive rocks into two parts: plutonic rocks and hyperbasal rock. The difference is very small. Just remember that difference, and you will remember it for your life. Plutonic rocks जो हैं, they are found deep beneath the surface of Earth. और hyperbasal rocks जो हैं, they are just intermediate between intrusive and extrusive. Like they are found very near to the surface of Earth. जिसकी examples हैं dikes or sills. So we call these rocks as hyperbasal rocks. Here we have extrusive igneous rocks, and you can see that no grain is visible in this rock, and it is very fine grain rock, and it doesn't have any granular or any grain type texture, like very fine. So if you want to study this rock, I think ordinary microscope is not useful. You need to go for the higher magnification microscope. Similarly, intrusive igneous rocks in which we have the bigger crystals, and you can clearly see the big crystals that are present here. Okay. Then comes just a little bit introduction about the textures, because now we are moving a little advanced in terms of rock classification and understanding the igneous processes. The texture of igneous rocks. Remember, texture is a term that is combination of crystals and how these crystals are organized, and how what is the shape of these crystals, and what is the mutual relationship between mineral grains. If you want to see the details on these, you can follow the petrographic lecture series that is also available on the YouTube channel. You can just see if you want to see the details, but here we just briefly discuss. Degree of crystallization, we can classify the rocks like holocrystalline and holohaline. Holocrystalline means 100% crystals, and holohaline means that there is no crystal, all the rock is made up of glass. Means all the rock is made up of uh, all the rock is made up of glass, and it means it is due to the rapid crystallization, and that's why we have the glassy texture. You remember we discussed that the rocks that are found as a result of volcanism, sometimes they don't have any crystals, and these type of rocks sometimes are holohaline, or we call them entirely glassy texture. Then some terminology based on the size of the grains. We can call it as pheneritic or pheneric, and that is the constituent mineral grains that can be seen by the naked eye, and we call it as pheneric. Then comes the coarse grain. It can be further classified as coarse grain, medium grain, and fine grain. And then comes aphanetic. Remember, A indicates that is actually non-crystals, and whose mineral grains are too small that cannot be seen by the naked eye. the crystals cannot be seen by the naked eye. Remember, we are just doing the different terminology, and it is not difficult to remember. Just once you finish the lecture, just try to go through. I will send you the slides as well today, and you can just see these terminologies, and you can see an example here. We have a phonetic texture, and in a phonetic texture the grain size is very fine grain, and it's very hard to see any crystal intact. However, the phonetic texture or pheneric texture, you can see clearly different minerals, like the light color minerals and the dark color minerals, and these minerals, they have large crystals, and these crystals are easily seen, and this is an example, by the way, from granite. Okay, shape of the crystals. Let's do a little bit of it before we wrap up the class for today. Shape of the crystal is actually the well-developed crystal faces of grains called euhedral. Okay, let me see who is in the waiting room. Okay, shape of the crystals, well-developed crystal faces, grains called euhedral. Euhedral, remember, this is actually more like a thin section terminology. The shape of crystals have, it is by the way very hard to see the shape of crystals only in very coarse igneous rocks. उसमें आप देख सकते हैं shape of the crystals. लेकिन अगर आपकी rock fine grain है, then it is a little harder to see these terminology. However, we just do it very briefly. Euhedral crystals, remember, ऐसे crystals जिसमें crystal faces जो हैं that are well developed, we call those crystals as euhedral. And similarly, the crystal faces are absent in certain rocks, we call them as anhedral, or I think the spelling is A and not UN. And similarly, if there are some of the faces of the mineral are developed, then we call them subhedral. Anhedral further can be divided into equigranular texture and inequigranular texture. So equigranular texture is in which the most of the grains are of the similar grain size. We call it as equigranular texture. And if the crystals are of different sizes, then we call it as inequigranular texture. And a few example of inequigranular texture is porphyritic texture, in which you can see bigger crystals here, and bigger crystals are actually present in rather fine grain, blackish material, that is for the fine grain, and the lighter color are the bigger crystals. So that is an example of porphyritic texture. Pocoyolytic texture is one in which we have one big crystal, and it is more advanced, and it is like more related to the petrography. But for example, you have a large crystal and you see small crystals embedded in that. It's just like पिज्जा की जो डो होती है, वो आप समझ लें कि एक क्रिस्टल है, और उसके ऊपर जो आपके इंग्रेडिएंट्स लगे होते हैं, that is actually the xenocrysts or the phenocrysts, and that is the pocoyolytic. Ophitic texture is somehow related to the pocoyolytic texture. Ophitic texture is one in which there are more crystals that are counted in one big crystal, and there can be more than one big crystal. So that is just the textures term, and we will continue tomorrow to study the details of different textures like the vesicular and amphigoidal, pigmatite texture. The terminology is just like you need to remember the terms. Rather, it is not that difficult, because geologists, they normally like to coin new terms, and sometimes the terminology is synonym, and most of the time it is just like the repetition. You just need to remember the term, and if you understand the meaning of the term, then most of the time you can get the idea that what the author is talking about. Well, that's all from today. We just try to understand the igneous rocks, and we just try to understand different chemical compositions of it, different types of it, and different places where they crystallize. And then we just came up with the Texas, and as I said, Texas depends on degree of crystallization, size of grains, shapes of grains, mutual relationship between mineral grains, crystallization, non-crystallization, holohaline, size of the grains, pheneric or pheneritic is one term, so it is just like the synonym term. Similarly, a phenetic no crystals, and then the shape of crystals and